Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about preparing a surface for changing your piece into either mixed media or for painting surface. Okay, because the same rules will apply if you would create something for painting. So I've got a piece of laser coated wood. The first thing you're going to notice from it is that it's a bit dirty on the sides. Okay, it's got a bit of soot from cutting. Because essentially what you do, you not cut, you burn through the material on laser cutter. And soot is greasy. That means it's not going to hold the paint well. So that's one of the problems. The second problem that you will have with the surface like this is that the MDF is very, very smooth because you've got a small leftover particle of wood, like chipwood, and they basically what they do is almost like a paper mache. They take the bits of wood, they shred it very small, they use the binder, so some sort of a glue, and then they press it to create the MDF, which makes it very, very smooth. Okay, that's also not good for holding paint or glue, because if something is very smooth, that means there is not enough surface for things to stick up to it. Okay, so the same thing in terms of smoothness will apply to other surfaces. So think glass or plastic or transparent plexi are also very smooth. That's why paint, unless it's specific paint for glass, will peel from it. So the same thing would apply to those other surfaces. Okay? Hence, if you preparing a surface for painting, okay, you will need to sand it down. So I've got a piece of sandpaper, pretty rough one, 60, but it doesn't matter really for this task. Before I deal with the smoothness, I need to deal with that awful soot, because otherwise it will just spread on my fingers everywhere, yeah? The first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to give a rough sand on the edges. Okay, you can see I've done it pretty roughly, probably just this area here I need to get a bit more, otherwise that's roughing out and it shouldn't be giving any more soot when I try it. Okay, so that's good. Okay, so with that now I need to prepare the surface. So again, just a bit of sanding paper, and I'm going to rough it out in the circular motions. Okay, that's it. Take the excess of the dust. Okay, and now this surface is different to this surface, yeah? Can you confirm that?
Yeah. One is matte, one is smooth.
One is matte, a bit rough, one is smooth. Okay. So I'm ready to actually start with my next point. Because I'm going to use it for painting and for collaging, I need to prepare this surface. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use gesso to prime it. What that means, gesso will basically seal the wood and prepare and stick to the wood pretty well, and then the paint will stick really well to gesso because they've got similar bindings inside. Okay? So notice that I'm taking a small amount of paint. Okay? And there are a few different ways you can do it. With the, you can start it from the middle, so put a bit more and just spread it around a bit, and then spread it in one direction across all of the surface. And what I'm trying to achieve, I'm trying to achieve a pretty thin layer. Why would I want it to be thin? Why?
To have a smooth surface.
Yes, to have a smooth surface. Absolutely, well done, Mara. Sometimes you will see a bit of bristle coming out, sort it while it's still wet, otherwise it will be stuck there forever. I've got some excess of the paint, so I can take it out here, and obviously that actually will help me with sealing the edges as well, if you want to. You don't have to. Okay, and then I'm going to wait another 5 minutes for it to be dry to the touch, and then I'm going to turn it around and do exactly the same thing with a bit more paint, but in the opposite direction. Okay, so the paint's got a chance to go into all of the little porous areas and stick to the wood. After you prime your piece, I would advise you to wait a few hours for it to dry completely, because there's a difference in the paint when it dries to the touch, so you touch it and it doesn't give you a color, okay? And there's a difference between actually drying completely. Why would you need it to dry completely? So, while it's still dry to the touch but not dry completely, there is a still area that might soak into the gesso. Okay, here's the thing. With a surface like wood or MDF, this is very porous surface, so it soaks the paint in. Okay, you want the gesso to dry completely, to seal completely the surface from the paint, so all of your paint will stay on top of the gesso. That in that way, you're going to have a very vibrant colors rather than colors being soaked into the surface. Okay,